There are moments during a movie when time slows down, not because the actual film does, but because something real pierces through the spectacle. At Sphere Las Vegas, that moment arrived during The Wizard of Oz, when the apples started to fall.
I saw The Wizard of Oz at the Sphere with my parents in September 2025. It was a trip I'll probably remember for the rest of my life. My mom and dad had flown into Las Vegas to visit, and rather than do the usual Vegas sightseeing routine, I wanted to share something that felt different. Something that blended film, technology, and nostalgia. The Sphere's 360-degree presentation of this 1939 classic seemed perfect. We were seated in section 400, not quite nosebleed, but high enough that you can see the whole dome, like being inside a snow globe built for cinema. And during the orchard scene, when Dorothy and the Scarecrow wander into the forest and encounter those grumpy talking apple trees, I watched a bit of theater magic unfold below us.
What do you think you're doing?
Did you say something?
In perfect sync with the film, a flurry of red foam apples rained down onto the lower levels of the audience. Not a massive downpour, just a blink and you miss it moment. The apples tumbled through the air, caught the light of the projected forest canopy, and landed on laps, aisles, and outstretched hands. Up in the 400s, we didn't get any. The drop doesn't reach that far back, but from where I was sitting, I saw heads snap up, arms shoot out, people laughing as they scrambled to grab a piece of what was essentially a cheap piece of foam.
But here's the thing. It wasn't just foam. It was the moment everyone would talk about later.
Let's talk about the apples for a second. They're made of red foam, lightweight but firm, about the size of a softball. There's a small brown rope stem and a foam leaf. Stamped across the front in full-color ink, The Wizard of Oz at Sphere. That's it. No elaborate packaging, no built-in chip, no sound effect, just a branded foam apple designed to mimic the ones the trees hurl at Dorothy and the Scarecrow in the film. They drop from the ceiling during the show, but not every guest gets one. Only certain sections are in the apple zone, roughly the 300s and below. Whether you catch one or not depends on where you sit, how quick you are, and a bit of luck. And because of that scarcity, they've taken on a kind of mythic status. People have been reselling them online for wildly inflated prices. I've seen listings asking over $100 for a single foam apple. It's the kind of frenzy that usually happens with limited edition collectibles, not props literally tossed into a crowd. Luckily, for those of us sitting further back, the Sphere's online shop quietly sells the exact same apple for $10. That's how I got mine. No scrambling, no elbowing strangers.
But I'll be honest, buying it online just didn't feel quite the same. The real magic wasn't in owning the apple, it was in watching it fall.
Here's why this works so well. For all the talk about the Sphere's AI enhancements, its cutting-edge visuals, its 167,000 speakers, and its haptic seating, the apple drop is a low-tech moment. It's tactile, it's gravity, it's something you can hold in your hand. When those apples rained down, the audience collectively leaned forward. The film was still playing on the dome, but for a few seconds, the line between screen and reality blurred. We were inside the orchard with Dorothy.
And the brilliance of it? That moment was fleeting. You can't pause it. You can't rewind it. You can't analyze it like you can a 16K upscaled frame. It's an experience that exists in a shared breath of time.
The Sphere sells plenty of Wizard of Oz merchandise. There are collectible pins with ruby slippers, branded mugs, t-shirts with wraparound tornado graphics, and snow globes featuring the yellow brick road, popcorn boxes. It's everything you'd expect from a modern theatrical tie-in, but none of those things hold the same weight as the apple. Why? Because the apple isn't something you pick up at the counter on your way out. It's something that falls from the sky in the middle of the movie. It's an artifact of a moment. We've seen this before in other contexts. Theme parks have made a science out of turning fleeting experiences into coveted souvenirs. Catching a bee at a Mardi Gras parade feels different than buying one from a gift shop. Catching a foam apple at the Sphere is tapping into that same instinct. And what's fascinating is how something so cheap can feel so precious. In a theater where everything is carefully engineered for scale, the projection, the sound, the physical effects, it's this tiny, almost accidental seeming gesture that sticks. It's a reminder that what audiences often cherish most isn't the spectacle itself, it's the moment they shared inside it.
The rest of the show is undeniably impressive.
The tornado sequence shakes the seats. The haunted forest sprawls across the dome in eerie detail. The wizard's lair glows in impossible greens. The witch's castle looms larger than any movie screen could contain. And then there's Judy Garland's voice. When Somewhere Over the Rainbow fills that space, it's enough to make a grown adult tear up. There are rough edges too. The AI-enhanced footage isn't perfect. Some faces look waxy, rubbery, or stretched. Important story beats are cut to make room for immersive flourishes. It's not a substitute for watching the original 1939 film. But that's not really the point of the Sphere presentation. This is more like a hybrid of movie, live show, and theme park attraction.
When the apples fell, I thought about how strange it was to watch a near century-old film reimagined with this level of spectacle.
Victor Fleming and his collaborators never imagined their orchard scene would one day involve actual apples pelting an audience under a 16K dome. But in a way, it works. The forest in The Wizard of Oz was always meant to feel a little bit alive, a little unpredictable. Those trees weren't just background, they were characters. Letting that world spill out into the theater completes something the original could only suggest.
Watching it with my parents made it even more personal. The Wizard of Oz was a fixture of my childhood. I wore out the VHS tape. Judy Garland's voice taught me what longing sounded like. Dorothy's journey taught me what storytelling could be. And now, decades later, I'm sitting in a futuristic dome with my parents, reliving the film that shaped me. I didn't catch an apple that day. But when the crowd below erupted, I caught something else. A sense of shared joy. That's worth far more than a piece of foam.
So yes, the Sphere's Wizard of Oz has its flaws. The AI isn't perfect. Some edits feel a little too eager. And if you're in the upper sections, your chances of catching an apple are slim. But the fact that these little red foam apples have become the most talked about souvenir says something important. It says that in a theater built on cutting-edge technology, it's the simplest moment, the moment when gravity takes over, that people remember. It's not just a movie, it's a shared experience suspended in mid-air. If the Sphere wants to make that magic even stronger, here's my suggestion. More apples, for the people in the back.
That day, I left the Sphere without a souvenir from the ceiling. But I bought my apple online, and now it sits on a shelf. Not because it's valuable, but because it reminds me of a day when a movie literally reached out and touched its audience. Sometimes the most extraordinary thing about technology isn't the tech itself. It's what happens when something real, something simple, falls into our hands.